What's up, guys? Ian here, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing you guys our Week 1 team builder for NCL Season 5 in the Zip Striker Division, taking on Joey and the Los Angeles Nidokings. The last time we took on Joey was way back in PTL Season 1. We picked up the W there, but it has been a very long time since we played Joey. Probably really close to a year, if not a full, if not past a year ago. So we are back in the NCL. Obviously, I haven't won my title here yet. I've got a really fun team. You should check out the draft analysis if you haven't seen it yet. It's a lot of power and a lot of comfort. Excuse me. I believe I've taken all of these Pokemon once except for Wigglytuff, which isn't it's not coming this week, unfortunately. But yeah, it's sort of a try-hard level team for me in this league. Joey's team consists of the Hoopa Unbound, Florges, Haxorus, Porygon 2, Rotom-Mow, Garbodor, Mega Medicham, Heatran, Jellicent, Tornadus Incarnate, and Cryogonal. He has priority options in the Mega Medicham with Fake Out and Bullet Punch, and the Cryogonal with Ice Shard. Also, the Rotom-Mow with Sucker Punch, but I could see Ice Shard coming a lot more than I could see Sucker Punch from Rotom-Mow coming. Granted, I do have a Mega Alakazam, so who knows. Hazard setting on his end, it's just Spikes and Toxic Spikes with Garbodor and Rocks with Heatran. Removal options, he's got the Florges with Defog, Rotom-Mow with Defog, Tornadus Incarnate with Defog, and Cryogonal with Rapid Spin and Defog. I do think the burden of hazards is probably split between us this week. He doesn't have the best removers. I don't really have the best removers either. He doesn't have the best setters. I don't have the best setters either. We may see sort of a no hazard game going on here, especially what I think about Garbodor. And then 4 times weaknesses, the Hoopa is 4 times weak to Bug, which I've got covered, and the Heatran is 4 times weak to Ground, which I also have covered. So, in terms of his team, what I'm expecting, I definitely think the Porygon 2 is coming. It is quite the issue for me. Hoopa Unbound, I think, is also coming 100% of the time. I think Mega Medicham's coming 100% of the time. That's 3. I think the Jellicent has to come, and that's 4. And then you're sort of going off into weird directions where I'm not entirely sure what's going to come in the last ones. I think Florges seems likely as a 5th. And then I think Heatran also seems likely as a 6th. That's kind of what I'm predicting, is like Hoopa P2 Florges, and then Medi Heatran Jellicent. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Garbodor has absolutely no matchup against me. Celesteela hard walls it and can just like set up on it or just really be annoying to him against the Garbodor all the time. Rotom-Mow might also come as a Celesteela check. He can't break it all that well without Rotom or Heatran, one of them. But yeah, Garb, it's a decent SERP check, but he's got better SERP checks on his team, like Heatran, or Cryogonal, or Torn, or Haxorus even. Garb loses to Pilliswine 1v1, which is one of, probably my premier rocker. It loses to Golurk 1v1 as well. I've got a grounded poison on my team, so I'm not going to bring T-Spikes against him because he can absorb them. But there's no reason for him to bring T-Spikes against me because I could absorb them. And Drapion is a pretty good Hoopa response as well as a nice Florges response. So I don't know. We'll sort of see if he brings the Garbodor or not. I'm not really prepped for it all that well, just because I don't think that it has a matchup pretty much ever against me. Torn Eye could be a bit of a problem if it does show up. I'm not really expecting it to. I think he's got other priorities on his mind besides Torn Eye, which in my opinion is not a very good Pokemon in the first place. Cryogonal, I actually did a buttload of calcs with it, and it's just absolutely hard-walled by Celesteela, so I don't really see a reason for him to bring Cryogonal while it's just walled by my Celi set, but he might not expect the Celi set that I'm bringing. Oh, excuse me. It's not going to be a high-quality Ian video without a yawn. Medicham's 100% coming, like I mentioned. Jellicent is most likely coming as a Darmanitan response, because other than that, he doesn't have one. So I guess let's get into my team then, because I've sort of touched on everything there. Celesteela, I'm bringing a really annoying Celi set with Leech Seed, Protect, and Toxic. This just wears down pretty much everything. I'm mono walled by Heatran set, but I can always Leech Seed and Protect on it. Heatran doesn't really get set up, so it's not the end of the world to me if I just Leech Seed, Protect on it, and catch it switching in maybe, and then get 24% off the Heatran for free. Even if he's lefties, that's still a net gain of 12% for me, and my Celi will have recovered whatever health I might have taken from a Volt Switch from Rotom-Mow or something like that. to get the Heatran in. Something along those lines is kind of what I'm anticipating. Excuse me. This can handle Florges really, really well with Heavy Slam. Florges cannot deal with Heavy Slam Selly. It can't really touch me back, and there's like no world where it lives multiple Heavy Slams, let alone one. You know, I'm not invested at all, but it's a really, really powerful attack coming off of like the heaviest or the second heaviest Pokemon in the entire game. And then I've got Toxic there, and I'm running a little bit of speed on here, so I'm trying to creep like Porygon 2 creeping over me so that I can get a Toxic off on the P2. I can't break a sub of the P2s with my investment, so that's really scary. If he's a sub Bolt Beam P2, that could be really obnoxious. Like sub Bolt Beam Recover would be really annoying, especially if it's Charge Beam over Thunderbolt. Then it just gets completely out of hand, and I might just lose to that sort of Porygon 2 variant, because I'm not really prepared all that well for it in terms of bringing knockoff users. I didn't bring a single one. I don't think Pilliswine actually gets knockoff. I think that's a Mamoswine exclusive thing, but Heracross and Drapion, I'm just not prepared for the Porygon 2 very well with. Yeah, that's kind of the idea behind the Selly set here. It's very specially defensive. It takes on mons like Florges really well. You know, I can Toxic mons like Jellicent, which also at the same speed tier as Porygon 2. And I can still function in Trick Room against the faster things on his team, mons like Hoopa Unbound. They have to be running like min speed to underspeed me. At the very least, I'll underspeed Mega Medicham in Trick Room, which is cool, and Haxorus as well. Darmanitan is next. I'm bringing a Scarf Darmanitan. I thought I was going to get rid of Superpower, actually, but I remember why I have it now. Yeah, so U-turn, Flare Blitz, Earthquake, Superpower. I don't really like Superpower on my Darmanitans most of the time. It's just an extra way to be able to break through Cryogonal without taking recoil damage, and it's a way to break through Heatran without locking myself into Earthquake against the double Levitators and the Tornai. That'd be a little bit of a shame. So yeah, I've got the Earthquake there though for the Heatran, just in case I do need that extra power. That's what's going on there. U-turn for momentum obviously hits the Hoopa Unbound really well, and then Flare Blitz breaks through. Flare Blitz breaks through this team pretty well as well. The speed that I'm running, I'm creeping Scarf Hoopa Unbound. So there's nothing relevant for me to speed creep besides that. Maybe besides like a Rotom-Mow would be something that I could realistically creep over as well. But I decided to creep over Hoopa Unbound instead, because I don't think that the Rotom is going to be max speed if it comes. He doesn't really have a reason when it's his Rotom-Wash check. I think it's better off defensively rather than running speed investment, but that's just me personally. You know, if it's Scarf Rotom-Mow and it outspeeds me, then that's really gonna suck. But this creep lets me run Adamant, which is very important in my bid to try and two-shot the Porygon 2. I do between 41 to 49%, I believe, with Flare Blitz because I'm Adamant to the P2. So pretty important calcs there. I'm bringing Rotom-Wash to check basically whatever wants to switch into Darmanitan, i.e. Heatran and Jellicent. It's pretty free for me to just U-turn on almost everything. And then if the Heatran and the Jellicent come in, I can just bring in Rotom-Wash and obliterate one of them. Joey doesn't have a ground type on his team, so I'm running Specs Rotom-Wash here because Electric Spam is completely free. His only electric resists are Haxorus and Rotom-Mow. Rotom-Mow is a really good electric resist, all things considered, and Rotom-Mow can actually switch into me very well. But if it's switching into me, that means I get to Volt Switch back into my Darmanitan and potentially trap him in a loop, or at least kill the Rotom-Mow, and then put myself in a position where I can maybe click Hydro. You know, if the Jellicent doesn't show up, then that's just completely whack, and if there's no Darmanitan checks on the team, then Darmanitan is just going to go absolutely ham against this team, but that's that's what's on my mind, at least with the Rotom-Wash here. T-Bolt is just a nice move to lock into later on in the game if things are weakened. Specs T-Bolt can pick off a lot of the slower Pokemon on this team, and again, it's a reasonably slow team. There's not a whole lot that's actually faster than my Rotom-Wash. It's just 4 things. It's the Haxorus, the Mega Medicham, the Tornai, and the Cryogonal. Tornai can't really kill me without like Grass Knot, and even that's not really killing me. It's got to be like Z Grass Knot. Cryogonal can do a lot with Freeze Dry, but it can't kill me. I can't really kill back though. Mega Medicham could obliterate me, to be fair. And Haxorus is most likely going to run Mold Break or Earthquake for me, so there's also that going on. I've got Toxic on there just in case I'm in a position where I need to Toxic Rotom-Mo, Florges, P2, Jellicent. I'm not entirely sure what's going to be the initial switch into Rotom-Wash, so I would probably rather click Volt Switch most of the time, but Toxic is there as a failsafe. I'm opting out of running Defog for running Toxic instead. Golurk is next. This is my semi-Mega Medicham check. Semi, I say, because I can obviously switch into High Jump Kick or Drain Punch or whatever. And if I switch into Drain Punch, then I can live the Zen Headbutt afterwards and kill back, but it's kind of asking a little bit too much. So the majority of the time with Mega Medicham, I'm probably going to try and find a sack to it, or sack off Celesteela if Celesteela is the most useless member of the team at the time. This is my rocker. I've got Earthquake and Shadow Punch there. Earthquake is there to deal with Heatran again, because I don't really have a great Heatran response on my team. So this is kind of that. Rotom-Wash is a pretty good switch into Heatran every single time, though. Unless he's Z Solar Beam, which would also really suck, because Rotom-Wash is pretty necessary in this game. Shadow Punch is there to pick off the Mega Medicham in particular, but it'll also do quite a lot of damage to things that might not like appreciate Earthquake. For example, the Jellicent. I can Shadow Punch that in the face. Crognal, Tornai, anything like that. I've also got Toxic on there. I initially had Drain Punch and swapped it out for Toxic to hit the Porygon 2. Wears it down quite nicely. Max HP, max attack, Adamant. A little bit of Spit Off on there. I'm running a really wacky Nature plus IV spread. This is Brave Nature with 9 IVs and speed. Porygon 2 and Jellicent are his slowest Pokemon. This is underspeeding both of them, guaranteed, in Trick Room. So there is the Trick Room aspect to this team. Both P2 and Jellicent are setters for the Hoopa, which can also set for itself, to be fair. But I think Trick Room is like a viable aspect against a Mega Alakazam team as well. So I'm sort of trying to play around the Trick Room aspect with my Golurk spread. We'll see how well it goes. I can. This is also like a semi-check to the Hoopa, because I can eat like a Dark Pulse with my Colbur Berry. I don't know if I'm able to eat like Hyperspace here. Like I'm not sure if I'm able to eat a choice hit with Colbur, but Colbur should at the very least give me an opportunity to OHKO the Hoopa back with Earthquake. So that's pretty important. Mega Alakazam's next. I'm running Psyshock, Signal Beam, Calm Mind, Recover. This set has gone through quite a few variants with like HP Ground. I was running a Taunt set at one point, Taunt Sub. This ended up being the best in my opinion. I've got Psyshock there, just hit a lot, like everything. Florges is going to demolish, which would otherwise maybe be an okay switch into Mega Alakazam. There's not a whole lot that actually can switch into Mega Alakazam, P2 being one of them, but that's why I have Calm Mind. So I'm going to try and boost past it. If it's got a status move, then I'm probably screwed, because I'm running Recover instead of Sub, but I really don't feel like I'm going to be able to get up a Sub and Calm Mind on things. If I want it to be Sub, I'd probably want to be Sub Recover, and that just sort of limits my Alakazam set quite a lot. So it's running into 4 moveslot syndrome quite a bit here. I need Signal Beam. I'm actually opting to Speed Creep Scarf Hoopa Unbound. So I'll outspeed a max speed Scarf Hoopa, which also is just like his entire team except like Haxorus after a Dragon Dance, which I can't even Speed Creep. I can't even Speed Creep like Scarf Rotom-Mo if he's going to be really max speed. So I'm outspeeding everything relevant on the team that I can be. Unfortunately, it means I have to run Timid, but that's just how it goes. Alakazam should be a decent answer to things this game. I also thought about like a barrier set because it could have dealt with Mega Medicham a little bit better. Barrier Mono Psychic or something, but I decided because I'm speed creeping Scarf Hoopa, I want a way to hit it. And so we're going with the Signal Beam over anything else. Even like HP Ground would be like really annoying, but you could run like Barrier, Calm Mind, Recover with Psyshock or Psychic, doesn't really matter which, and deal with most of this team except for that Hoopa. And I don't have good defensive responses to Hoopa, so I need a way to hit it. So that's what I'm creeping is Scarf Hoopa Unbounded, and it's just the rest is in bulk. And then last but not least is Kyurem-Black, Kyurem-Black. I'm bringing in ICMZ set. So this is kind of an interesting set. Went through a couple variants of itself. I was like a Life Orb sub Roost set with Ice Beam Earth Power, which just like did not have the breaking power to get through P2 at all. And that's one of the biggest problems to my team because I'm opting out of Heracross. I thought about opting into Heracross, but I wanted Darmanitan as a pivot. So Like the Darm Rotom core just sort of pivots on everything and threatens everything, and Heracross Rotom would be fine, except for the fact that, you know, something like Jellicent can still wall Heracross. You know, if I pivot from Rotom into something and then Jellicent comes in, then I have to hard switch back into Rotom, which I don't really want to take a Toxic, so I opted into the Darmanitan over the Heracross, even though Heracross would be able to deal with something like a Hoopa better, because I'd have an extra Scarfer for it that's faster. It's the same thing with Darm, but I'd also be able to deal with the Porygon 2 and the Heatran better with Heracross. You know, close combat switch-ins are pretty poor. Florges is a close combat switch-in, I guess, in theory, but it doesn't really take it very well. Most of the close combat switch-ins on this team actually don't take it very well from Heracross, so I may end up regretting not bringing the Heracross and bringing Darm instead, but this is kind of one of the purposes of the Kyurem-Black set. So I'm sub Hone Claws with no recovery. This is a pretty dangerous set, in all honesty, but if I can get up a sub, then I can either set up a Hone Claws on something that won't be able to deal with me, like a Rotom-Mow, or I can set up, or I can just attack what's in front of my face. Sub lets me click Raw Freeze Shock a couple times as well, which might be fun. You know, the way that I have this calced is that at +1, I should be able to kill physically defensive Porygon 2 most of the time after rocks with Z Freeze Shock after a Hone Claws boost. So, you know, there's that. Hone Claws also helps out Freeze Shock a little bit. I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but it's 90% accurate. So upping the accuracy by one stage or whatever is enough to propel that out into the 100% accuracy range. So I don't have to miss Freeze Shock either if I'm manually clicking it. And Fusion Bolt is a nice way to actually break through things. I didn't have the best ways of breaking through things otherwise, so that's yeah. I needed Hone Claws, unfortunately, for this set to work. Otherwise, Kyurem just wasn't going to be an effective breaker against this team, which sounds really whack because it's like the best breaker in the game, but it's just how it goes sometimes. I'm running enough speed for Adamant Mega Metacham, but it'll also Speed Creep Rotom-Mow. So I'll Speed Tie Adamant Mega Metacham. And I will actually, you know what? I'm just going to adjust it a little bit so that I won't speed tie Metacham, and I'll actually outspeed it. The extra 8 HP is probably not going to matter as much as winning a speed tie, or sorry, outspeeding an Adamant Mega Metacham would. Yeah, if the P2 doesn't show up, I don't know what to say. There's like basically no switch into the combo of Z Freeze Shock plus Fusion Bolt on this team, so I don't know. Kyurem-Black will be an effective breaker if P2 doesn't show up, and if P2 does show up, then I can sub Hone Claws on it and hopefully do stuff there. That's just sort of where I was going with this build. In terms of what I'm not bringing, Serp, I was on the fence about Serp. I wanted to bring Serp to break Jellicent for Darmanitan, but Rotom-Wash does that effectively anyways. Serp could like boost on P2 pretty much for free, but P2 is probably going to run Bolt Beam against me anyways, so again, I don't know what to go there. I talked about Heracross already. Pilliswine. Pilliswine's okay here, but it's not great. Rotom-Mow and Jellicent are still good, effective checks to that, just like they are to Celesteela. So I sort of found that Pilliswine was sitting in that area, and Golurk just handles those a little bit better than a Pilliswine would. Wigglytuff I didn't really consider all that much. It's not a good Hoopa check, and it's not really a good Metacham check. It just doesn't... They both get too much coverage, and the fact that it's fighting neutral really hinders it a lot against a Mega Metacham. And then Drapion is something that I probably could have brought, but opted out of for something like Mega Alakazam, which doesn't actually necessarily have to come. I think that maybe Mega Alakazam is probably one of the weaker links on this team. I just wanted something that was really fast, able to revenge kill Mega Metacham without being a Scarfer, you know? So that's kind of where my head was at with that one. So hopefully you guys enjoy the team builder, and I'll catch you guys for week 1 against Joey and the Los Angeles Nidokings.